I never thought I'd have to defend my own property from someone who didn't even own it. But that's exactly how this nightmare started. My name is Mark, and for nearly 15 years, my lake cabin was my escape. Not a rental, not a vacation flip, not some inheritance handed down to me. I built it. Every plank, every beam, every nail that went into that place was paid for with overtime hours, missed weekends, and sleepless nights. The cabin sat on the edge of Lake Brighton, a quiet, private lake surrounded by dense trees and protected land. No HOA, no shared roads, no community docks, just peace. I bought the land when it was nothing more than mud, mosquitoes, and broken dreams. I cleared it myself, hauled lumber in my old pickup, slept on the floor during construction. That cabin wasn't just a property. It was proof that I made something with my own hands. For years, nothing ever went wrong. Neighbors waved, fishermen stayed polite, people respected boundaries, until she moved in. Her name was Linda Hawthorne, and she was about to make my life hell. It started with a letter. Not a conversation, not a phone call. A letter. Slipped into my mailbox like a legal notice. The envelope had an HOA logo on it. That was the first red flag, because there was no HOA. The letter read, "As per the Brighton Lake Community Development Association, cabin plot B17 has been reassigned for family use. Temporary access granted to the Hawthorne family. Compliance required." I laughed. I genuinely thought it was a joke, until I noticed the signature. Linda Hawthorne, HOA President. I drove to the lake that same afternoon, and that's when my stomach dropped. There were cars parked in my driveway, strangers, kids running around my porch, and my cabin door unlocked. I stormed up the steps, heart pounding, already angry, but completely unprepared for what came next. A teenage boy, maybe 19 or 20, was sitting on my couch, feet up on my coffee table, eating chips like he owned the place. I asked calmly at first, "Who are you?" He didn't even look surprised. He smirked. "Oh, my mom said this cabin is mine now." That's when the disbelief hit. Hard. I demanded to speak to his mother. 5 minutes later, Linda Hawthorne arrived like she owned the world. Blonde hair, designer sunglasses, perfectly pressed clothes. That smug, entitled walk that screams, "I've never been told no." She didn't apologize. She didn't explain. She declared, "Mark, my son needs a quiet place near the lake for the summer. The HOA reassigned unused properties." Unused. I felt my blood boil. "This is my cabin," I said. "You have no authority here." She smiled. That fake smile Karen's perfect. "Oh, honey," she said, waving her hand. "I run the HOA. Your paperwork is outdated." Outdated? I pulled my deed from my bag and shoved it in her face. She barely glanced at it. "That doesn't matter," she replied. "Community rules override private misunderstandings." I told her to get off my land. She laughed. "My son's already moved in," she said. "If you have a problem, take it up with the board." That's when I realized something terrifying. She truly believed she was untouchable. And worse, she thought she'd won. I didn't argue. I didn't yell. I left. And I made a phone call. See, Linda didn't know one very important thing. That lake, the access road, the shoreline path, all of it ran through my land. Every inch of access to her newly assigned cabin passed directly through my property. And my deed was crystal clear. I had the right to fence it. So that's what I did. Within 2 weeks, I hired a surveyor, a contractor, and a lawyer. Then I built a locked, reinforced fence that surrounded every access point. Gates, cameras, no trespassing signs. When Linda's construction company tried to deliver materials to the reassigned cabin, they couldn't get in. When her son tried to drive to the lake, blocked. When HOA workers tried to cut the lock, police showed up, and I stood there smiling. That's when Linda snapped. Linda showed up screaming. "This is illegal!" she yelled. "You're obstructing community property." I calmly handed her my survey documents. She slapped them out of my hands. "You think a fence can stop me?" she screamed. Her son recorded the whole thing. She threatened lawsuits. She threatened fines. She threatened to end me. What she didn't know was that my lawyer had already filed something far worse. An injunction, a fraud complaint, and a title challenge against her fake HOA. Turns out Linda had been creating fake HOA authority to seize unused properties for her family and friends. And now she was trapped. Literally, her own company's equipment sat stranded behind my fence, bleeding money by the day. The courtroom was silent when the judge read the findings. No HOA authority, no reassignment power, forged documents, illegal occupancy. Linda tried to interrupt. The judge shut her down. Her son was ordered to vacate immediately. She was fined. Her company lost contracts, and I was awarded damages. When the judge asked if I had anything to add, I stood up. Yes, I said, I'd like permanent trespass restrictions. Granted. Linda didn't look powerful anymore. She looked small, defeated. 2 days later, I returned to my cabin. Quiet, peaceful, mine again. I replaced the locks, sat on my porch, watched the sunset over the lake, and smiled. Because entitlement only works when people back down. And this time, Karen picked the wrong property owner.